You keep saying that you'll stop. Stop procrastinating, stop overthinking, and stop going back to people who hurt you. No matter how many promises you make, you end up right in the same loop. This is not just a lack of willpower, it's your brain doing what it's been trained to do on autopilot. Hi, my name is Precious, and one of my bachelors of science is in psychology. Today, we're going to unpack the neuroscience of self-sabotage. The truth is, your brain is very brilliant at one thing, and that is repetition. What you repeat, you reinforce. This is the essence of what Donald Hebb explained back in 1949, which is nerve cells that fire together, wire together. What this means is simple yet powerful. So when two neurons are activated repeatedly, their connections strengthen. This is just your brain's way of becoming more efficient. So the more you think a thought or form a behavior, your brain treats it as a shortcut. And eventually, it doesn't even ask, it just goes there by default. So your thoughts and your behaviors lay down mental pathways. The more you use them, the easier they become to access. I want you to think of it like you're walking through a muddy trail, or you see a trail that is muddy. Over time, you keep walking down the same path, you see footprints. And over time, those footprints become more and more defined. I want you to think of someone who grew up constantly being criticized. As an adult, even when they get a simple feedback, it can seem and feel like an attack. They might instantly shut down or become defensive, not because they want to, but because their brain has learned that this is how we feel safe and this is how we protect ourselves. Another example, every time you're anxious, you scroll, or every time you feel or get rejected, you shut down or you lash out. This is because your brain has learned that this is how it can protect you and this is how you can feel safe. Over time, those responses become automatic, not because they're helpful, but because they're familiar. Your brain is not thinking, what is best right now? It's thinking, what have we done before? And what we repeat is not always what's healthy, it's just what's practiced. So psychologist Schore in 2012 actually talks about implicit memory. These are emotional patterns that are stored in the brain and the body without conscious recall. So these are shaped early in our lives, often by the way that we learn to cope with rejection, shame, or neglect. So when something feels off in a relationship and you respond by pulling away, it's not a flaw, it's a neural pattern. So you're not broken, you're just repeating a pattern that your nervous system once used to survive. This is why breaking the pattern can feel so hard. Daniel Siegel in 2012 actually emphasized how the brain is an experience-dependent organ. This means the very structure of your brain is shaped by what you repeatedly feel and what you repeatedly do. These experiences, especially early in life, lay the blueprint on how you relate or react to stress, relationship, neglect, and also even yourself. So if your repeated experience was shame, neglect, criticism, your brain adapted to that. And now as an adult, it might still feel like you're in that same unsafe environment, even though you may not be. The result of this is that you default to the same old coping strategies that are no longer helping you to survive. That short-term relief that you feel from avoidance or distraction, that's dopamine. Your reward system is reinforcing that behavior even though the long-term effects is harmful. But the key thing to remember is change is not impossible. Your brain has the ability to grow, change, and adapt through your thoughts, your experiences, and your behaviors. This is known as neuroplasticity. So just as you wired in self-sabotage through repetition, you can rewire your brain to adapt in new ways. But it starts with awareness and catching that loop while it's running. Then you interrupt it, you pause, then you breathe, and then you choose something different. Even if it's small, every time that you're doing that, you're signaling to your brain, Telling your brain, hey, this is the path now. Let's take it next time. You don't need to fight the old pattern. You just need to out-repeat it. Let me give you a brief summary of how to start. First step, identify the loop. Ask yourself, where are you stuck? Second, make micro shifts. Small repeated actions creates big effects. 3, practice regulation. Safe relationships, breath work, meditations. These are all things that create safe neural networks in your brain. 4, celebrate consistency. Remember, the rewiring is in the repetition. So you're not weak for struggling with self-sabotage. You're human. Now that you know what's happening in your brain, you're empowered to change it. So start repeating something new on purpose and see how much you change and grow. That is all for this video. Let me know if you have any thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns, and let me know if there's anything you'd like me to further expand on. I will be linking all the references I used to create this video in the caption below. That is all for now. Bye!